In my classes, when I talk about Joseph Smith, and my classes are overwhelmingly non-Mormons, I try to deal with him at two levels. One as a significant leader in the same way that other American leaders would be understood as significant. My memory is that the Atlantic Monthly had an article about 5 years ago on the 100 most influential Americans, and only 4 of them were religious figures, and one was Joseph Smith. And so I try to help students understand how he came from more or less humble circumstances in upstate New York, and then eventually inspired a movement of 16 million people today. And just look at the external features of how any one person, I mean, it's an amazing story of how any one person could generate this kind of appeal. And I compare him with other figures that are extraordinarily rare in our history. I'm very interested in people who have had extraordinary influence far beyond the mean of what most people ever experience. The second level, though, is the charismatic and the religious part of it. And I invite students, both secular students, and I teach in a divinity school as well as in the secular side of Duke. And I invite students from, shall we say, both domains to think about what was going on religiously with Joseph Smith. And some, of course, are very inclined to deconstruct him. That this is all plagiarized, or it's an unusual, that he was very learned and he was writing this down in surprising ways. But in a way, I get all kinds of explanations of that sort. And there are a few who will say it's a supernatural revelation, even if they're not Mormons. They're pluralistic about it. I think most, finally, probably from my own nudging, will say, I don't know. I simply don't know what was happening. And more than that, historians are not obliged to know. We don't have to have an answer for everything. And there are a number of places in lots of places in American religious history that I don't know what was happening. And I'm quite happy to leave the lid on the box.